A Bibi Fahodie, a Bibi Toomey. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Maat. Before I get tonight's show started or tonight's discussion started, family, I want to take time to honor right now Dr. Kamon, Baba Kamon, Nana Kamon. We found out a few days ago that he transitioned on December the 28th, actually during the celebration of Kwanzaa. And so that's what it says on abbtoomey.com that he's making his way back, family. And he started his journey on December the 28th. And so I pray that he has a safe journey back home. It is also my hope that the ancestors are pleased with his work and that his heart is as light as the feather of Ma'at Ashe. And so if you go to abbtoomey.com, and I'll drop the link in the chat. Okay, here is a page. They have a page up honoring Abimfo Kamu Kamon Nana Kwesi. It says right here, sunrise September the 5th, 1943, sunset on December the 28th, 2023. So Baba actually he just celebrated his 80th right here. He celebrated his 80th on September the 5th. And so this is an announcement from his son, Okunini Kamon. And so I will play that. If you can't hear it in the chat, family, please let me know. Here we go.
Bibi Fahodie, Black Liberation. The entire Kamon family wishes to inform all of Abibibiase, the entire Black world, that Odupontutu, that a great and mighty tree has fallen, that Baba Kamal Rashidi Kamon, also known as Nana Kwesi Ajimai, has made his transition and started his journey to the abode of the ancestors, Asamando. We would like to let you know that the sad event took place on 28th of December on a Thursday, and that we will be holding the 1-week celebration of his glorious life on January 4th, 2024. We will hold that here at Hamnu Abibitumi headquarters, and it will also be streamed live, and we'll make that link available for the entire Black world. Those who knew him, those who loved him, those who respected him, and his great, great life work, fighting for Black liberation and fighting for Black people. We want all of you to join us. We're going to have events, as mentioned, the 1-week ceremony, and then also we'll have the 40-day ceremony, and that date will be conveyed to everyone. We will hold this not only at Abibitumi headquarters and online, but also in Brooklyn, where he was born and raised, and then also in North Carolina, where he made such a great impact on so many lives. We would like to thank all of you for those who have already shared messages of condolences and those who will continue to do so. In his spirit, Abibitumi, Black Power. Abibi Fahodie, Black Liberation.
Abibitumi,
Black Power.
Black Power, family. And so they have some options on the website, 4 ways to share your love and support. 1, you can register and attend the 1-week celebration of life ceremony taking place on January the 4th at 3 p.m. Ghana time, 10 a.m. Eastern. I guess that's Eastern Standard Time. It says location is at Abibitumi, the headquarters, and online, but you have to register. They want you to dress in red, black, and green, the Black Liberation colors, or anything African made by Black people. 2, you can send a love donation to Nana Kamon Kamon Memorial Fund. Okay, so it's a way to do that. 3, it says you can record and send a selfie video with your memories, reflections, legacy, and impact to support at bbtoomey.com. Lastly, 4, you can send in your pictures and videos with Baba Kamon to support at bbtoomey.com. All right, family. And so again, we want to send our love to the Kamon family. Again, may he have a safe journey home. May the ancestors be pleased with his work, and may his heart be as light as the feather of Ma'at. And so anyway, family, Habari Ghani, I didn't get to see you during Kwanzaa. So Habari Ghani, right? I know Kwanzaa is over. It was over yesterday, but I hope that you had a beautiful, beautiful Kwanzaa, family, and celebrated it. Had a wonderful New Year's. I know I did. I had a great holiday season. I did a lot of resting and spent a lot of time with my family, and it was some much needed time. Okay. So I haven't seen your faces, and you haven't seen mine, but your sister is back, and she's stronger than ever. But tonight, family, I have a special treat for you. I have Dr. Wright in the building tonight to have me unpack this topic, the weaponization of labels, anti-Semitic, anti-Black, and homophobia. And I'll make sure, family, that I give you the context or the motivation behind this discussion tonight. So I'll get into that with Dr. Tawin Wright. I'm getting ready to bring on right now, but I do want to shout out. I see my sister LaDoja Wright is in the building. I see the Queen Mother Virgo Venom is in the building. Also see Dr. Craig Samuels is in the building. Also see another Queen Mother in the building, the beautiful Mind. Peace and love to you all, family. Right now, take a moment out to thumb up this discussion. Also, family, share this discussion. If you're on Facebook, post a link. If you're on IG or Twitter, post a link. Say I'm live with Dr. Maat and give the folks the link. All right, let's pack the seats. So let's pack the seats. Let's get it. I'm getting ready to bring it in right now, family. Peace and Black power.
Let's combat and fight back with MELTREK. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Kamon core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classics. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.
A BB to me, a BB Fahodie. Peace to all of my thinkers, truth speakers, and truth seekers. Welcome to another Truth to Power Talk with your sister, Dr. Maat. Thank you for joining another powerful discussion. And tonight I have with me another powerful guest, but she is no stranger to this platform, and she is no stranger to the community. Dr. Tawin Wright, how are you doing tonight, my sister?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Look. It's always a pleasure for you to be here because look, when you're here, you light the platform up, with your knowledge, with your wisdom, just with your intellect. You're a powerful sister, and I've said that to you. I've said that publicly. I say that to everyone. You're a powerful, powerful sister, and most importantly, you are a mighty, mighty warrior for our people, and I appreciate that. Family, right now, take a moment to thumb up this video. Thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, share this video. Sharing is caring, right? We want to each one teach one, and it's easy to do in the 21st century. All you have to do is go on social media, click a button, share the link. Also, family, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you are notified. Also, family, if you've missed any of my other Truth to Power Talks, family, make sure that you watch the Truth to Power Talk playlist on my page, okay? I brought on a lot of our great thinkers, a lot of our scholars, so make sure that you check that out. And also, family, I have a book club called the Read Book Club. I co-founded it with brother JT Coin Rings. Make sure that you check out those book discussions in the archive. And Dr. Wright, we actually discussed her book, Booker T. Washington in Africa, the Making of a Pan-Africanist, and she changed my perspective on Booker T. Washington. I actually look, Doc, because of you, he's on my ancestor shrine now. Okay. I didn't have him on my ancestor shrine, but he's on my ancestor shrine, and you made me take a different look. It's like a different look, at what he did and who he was. And so a lot of us bought into the whole accommodationist narrative that was going on around. And then, and our elders, I have to keep it, 100. A lot of our elders, they were responsible for perpetuating that narrative as well. But you came, you did your research. You were telling me that you combed through thousands and thousands of pages to bring us that information in your book. Is that book still available, Doc? Or what's going on with the book? Okay.
Yes, and I have it in stock. So it's in stock right now. And this is still the original version, the first edition.
All right.
And there's another edition coming, but this is the raw and uncut version of it. The second edition is a little bit, little bit more for the academics and responding to them. But the first edition, which is what you can get now, is
Okay.
the original uncut for the people.
Absolutely. So, family, you can head on over to Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Where is it? Let me see. Booker T. Washington and Africa.com. And I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Head on over to Booker T. Washington and Africa.com and grab your copy today, family. Again, all you got to do is scroll, click on the link, scroll to the bottom. Where is it? Where's the order now? Where's the order?
Go
Oh,
to
it's right here.
buy the book. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
my bad. I was scrolling to the bottom. So it's a link there that says order your book. And
Yeah,
as soon as you click on the link, family, look at this. Click
yeah,
right here, buy now. Okay, she made it very simple, family, for you to purchase. And also, family, when you purchase the book, make sure that you go online, type in Dr. Ma. I know you type in my name. Type in the Read Book Club and type in her name, and all of our discussions on her book will pop up. I see the Uhuru Academy is in the building. Shout out to Baba Amin and his divine compliment, Mama and Koyo. They had an all week long Kwanzaa fundraiser for the Uhuru Academy, Dr. Tareen. And look, Dr. Wright. I was
that's
saying this earlier
beautiful.
because I mentioned him earlier, Doc. And I said, I'm tired of watching these silly challenges on the internet. I said, how about we do a challenge where we see how much money we can donate to African-centered schools? And
That's
this
right.
is what I said. Let's do
Right.
a challenge. Yeah, how many Black-owned businesses can we support in 1 month? Let's do
Right.
challenges that will change
Benefit
out.
us.
That right, that will benefit us. I said, I'm tired of seeing these TikTok challenges, people doing stupid dances and jumping jacks, and
Right.
in Baltimore, these videos are going viral. People are doing the Park Heights strut. So everybody doing the Park Heights strut. And I said, Dag, I wish we had challenges, like you said, that benefits our community.
That's right.
And so shout out to the Uhuru Academy. Family, make sure that you head on over to Baba Amin's YouTube channel, the Uhuru Academy. Subscribe, family. And not only subscribe, become a Patreon member and donate 10, 15, 20 bucks a month to the Uhuru Academy, which is the #1 Black independent institution online for us, by us. I also see in the building, who else we got in the building? I see we got Lama Bay is in the building. I see Jay Dorian is in the building. I see Marjorie Foster is in the building. A lot of you all in the building, family. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, family, share this live. Let's get some folks in these virtual seats, because Dr. Tareen Wright is going to drop a lot of good information, a lot of powerful information tonight. So, Doc, remember I called you on the phone. Just speaking candidly, speaking honestly, I called you on the phone, and I called you during the time where a lot of those Ivy League presidents were in the hot seat.
Yeah.
So Harvard, MIT, and the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and UPenn, they were called to the carpet by Congress, and they were questioned about the anti-Semitism that was taking place on their campus. So, right after October, I believe the Israel-Hamas war started on October. I want to say it was either the 7th or the 13th. I forgot the date, but I know it happened early October. After that incident, and then Israel, the war ensued. There were a lot of people on college campuses, a lot of students protesting on a lot of Ivy League campuses. Honestly, Dr. B, to be candid with you, it was sad that I didn't see a lot of HBCU students respond to it, but they didn't. But a lot of those kids at the Ivy League schools, they were protesting the Israel-Hamas war, and they were protesting genocide, and they were asking the administrations to get involved. They were trying to bring awareness. There was a lot of stuff going on these Ivy League school campuses, and so the presidents were called to the carpet because the ADL got involved, the Anti-Defamation League, they got involved, and they said they received over hundreds of complaints of anti-Semitic things happening and genocide and all sort of stuff. And so they got involved, and they got their lawyers involved. And so anyway, they had to go in front of the Congress, and they had to, I guess, testify or give their account, as to what's taking place on their college campuses. And these presidents were labeled anti-Semitic. They were labeled anti-Semitic. Now, I didn't watch the 5-hour video. It was 5 hours. I saw clips of it on YouTube, and I read some articles, and I know that there were times where I guess the people who were facilitating the discussions, they didn't like the responses from the presidents. And so it was some back and forth because they wanted, they were asking questions and they felt like the presidents were dancing around the questions. But Doc, what I saw was I think they were being very strategic in their responses. And I think they were trying to get the facilitators of the conversation to understand that it's a thin line between freedom of speech and then censoring speech, right? It's the thin line. So they were like, well, it seems like you guys just don't like what these kids are saying and you want to censor them, and then it was like, well, no, you're supporting genocide. And so that label anti-Semitic was thrown around a lot, and they were labeled as being anti-Semitic. I mean, so much so that one of them quit. I believe it was the president of either MIT or UPenn. She quit.
Right.
They wanted to get, I want to say the sister's name is Claudia. They wanted to get her out of there, out of MIT.
Right.
But I heard her board, they stood 10 toes down on keeping her. So she's still there. But they were labeled anti-Semitic. So I started reflecting on that, and I called you. And I said, Doc, a lot of these labels are thrown around. Anti-Semitic, homophobia,
right,
anti-Black. And
right.
I said, so much so that sometimes when these things are really happening, we don't even believe that they're happening anymore, because sometimes they're thrown around and it's not warranted for them to throw it around.
Right.
And so, Doc, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on that, Doc? Just how you keep hearing these labels. This person is anti-Semitic. This is anti-Blackness. This is homophobia. What are your thoughts about how people are utilizing these labels?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on, because this is going to be intense conversation between you and I, and
always. Always.
So I have a lot to say about that, and I think we'll start with the obvious, the anti-Semitic title, and I think what you didn't say, but is the obvious, is that when that title or that label is thrown on Black people.
Come on, Doc. Come on.
And it's always problematic because we are a group of people who are not in power, not even to our own benefit, right? So we are never in charge or in control of these systems and these systemic issues, right? So when you say anti-Semitic, you are assuming that the people who are anti-Semitic have the power to do something to said group, right? And that's not the case. I think one of the scenarios that mimics this is the system Tamika Mallory, when she did the Women's March, and she said, Farrakhan is the GOAT of Black people. And they just totally trashed her because they felt like, well, do you agree with his, anti-Semitic statements, this, that, and other? And she listen, she knows how to handle herself. I got to give it to her. She knows how to handle herself. And she appropriately said, I called him the GOAT for Black people, for what he's done for Black people. I'm not obligated to say that I agree with everything he's ever said in
the
history of his public, life, but I agree with what he has done for Black people and in the Black community in the recent past. And so she didn't feel a need to respond to all of that. And my position was this: there were many programs built around it. There's women of all kinds that are going to be there. Are you against the Jewish population? And she was on point in terms of saying, I'm talking about Black people. Now, if you want to take offense, then that is your issue, but I'm talking about what he did for Black people. And I think it's important that when we in particular are charged or labeled in that way, that we take that to task, okay? Because there's no history really to substantiate anti-Semitism on the part of Black people as a group. Okay, we have never had the power
That's
to
right.
oppress, exploit, decide where this group or any group is going to live, have employment, get education, healthcare, or anything alike. And so I think that we have to take that to task specifically. So, what history qualifies you to label us as anti Semitic? When we're speaking on issues that are simply a matter of right and wrong, you can be of a certain faith and still be wrong on a particular issue. That's allowed. You
Come
understand?
on. That's right.
Okay. So
That's right.
that's part of the reason why I suggested, the article
Yes.
that, hopefully we'll get a chance to discuss.
That's
It was written
yeah.
last year, but appropriately so. People, as it relates to Liberia, we can speak on Liberia where we were the settler population, right? Settling
Absolutely.
in an African nation. Uh, and there was a marginalization of the indigenous African population. And there are people like myself and others who appropriately said the resettlement is not the issue, but the marginalization and the abuse of the indigenous people who were there since time immemorial is a problem. That is a
Absolutely.
problem. Okay. To
Absolutely.
displace any people is a problem. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I think that you can say that without being anti Black, right? That when you come into a place and settle, you are to treat the human beings as human beings.
That's right.
And saying that is not anti Black. You understand? Saying that appropriately about Israel and Palestine and the Palestinian state is not inappropriate or anti-Semitic. I do not see that.
I
Okay,
don't see it
saying
either.
that people can come and you should, if you're going to settle, you need to settle in peace. What is wrong? See, this is the issue that I have. What is wrong with settling in a place and not destroying what already exists and displacing the people? The idea that one has to do that in order to occupy a certain space. You've got to remove another population is deeply problematic to me. So,
Absolutely.
right. So I think that we have to push back, particularly when we're called anti-Semitic, because I just had a personal conversation with someone where I said, for us as African people in the United States, we have been people who have participated in world wars on behalf of people who are not us. And those wars we had no stakes or
Come
dog
on.
in the fight, right? Namely World War II.
Come on, Doc. You better
All
teach.
right. So listen, I'm a Tuskegee alumni. And so when we talk about the participation of African people in this country who were fighter pilots and went into a whole war that had nothing to do with them on the other side of the earth and did so very, you know, uh, aggressively and I would say efficiently. We worked to some other group's benefit. That wasn't about us, right? Few people on the other side can say they have ancestors that fought in any war besides the Civil War, and we would have to question on what side they were on. But few have fought in any war that contributed to our freedom and our rights as human beings. But
And
we,
Doc,
Mhm,
and Doc, I just want to interject just for a quick sec.
mhm,
And then look at the conditions under which those ancestors fought. They're
right,
over there in segregated quarters,
right,
segregated barracks. They
right,
couldn't go in the chow hall with
right,
the white soldiers. I mean, look at the conditions
right.
under which they fought, like you said, and they didn't have a dog in the fight. But please keep going,
No
Doc.
dog in a fight, right? So we are people that have that history that contributed to the freedom and liberation of other groups of people while they did not contribute to the liberation and freedom of us as African people here in America or very likely anywhere. Okay, because so many wars we could look at World War I, which was to obtained to colonize Africa, right? But black bodies, black people were utilized in that war where Europeans fought each other to control Africa. And once again, World War II. This is a European issue, nonetheless, right? It
Absolutely.
was a European
Absolutely.
issue. The Germans or the Nazis thought that it was a good idea in their minds to conduct an ethnic cleansing across Europe, starting in Germany. What does that have to do with African people? But we were there. We
We were
entered
there.
that war in a military that was still segregated, still thoroughly racist, I think it's fair to say, and fought on behalf of another group of people on the other side of the earth. I think that's very significant. So to dub or to label African people in America have contributed to, the liberation of people in Europe, literally in their own plight, in their own chaos, is to ignore that history. That is to ignore that we made a contribution to that. So I really don't think that it's a fit, right?
Right.
And I could say more, but
No,
we'll
I'm with
stop
you.
there.
So Doc, what do you think about the ADL and them saying like their involvement with the college campuses and these presidents being called to the carpet or being approached or held accountable for the anti-Semitism on their college campuses. What were your thoughts when you were hearing these things going on with these presidents? Did you feel like the label was being thrown around, or do you think the label was warranted? Like, what were your thoughts on that?
It took me back to an understanding of what the university is supposed to be about, first and foremost,
All right.
right? The
All right.
university is supposed to be uh, an exhibition of universal thinking, right? And that's coming
Mm-hmm.
from our classical African civilization, right? The first universities on earth were in Africa, right? Ancient Kemet and Timbuktu. However, of course, the university has lost in its present form that original concept of universal thinking, right? And so I thought to myself, okay, so when it's one group expressing themselves, it's going to be some censoring because who owns that space? Who owns the university space,
Teach, teach,
right? And
teach.
it's a particular group of people, and so their speech is going to be rewarded, while others who challenge those in control are going to be silenced or they're going to be censored. So I thought to myself, any other context, because we already know, listen, one of the biggest issues in the United States with organizations like the ADL and others is the fact that the Klan has been allowed to march, okay? And there has even been talk about the fact that, oh, well, they have freedom of speech. But this is a
Yeah.
terrorist organization,
Come on. With the history of that, with
right?
the
The
history of terrorism.
Klan is a terrorist organization. There's
Come on, Doc.
never been anything but that. It was created to terrorize African people, Black people in America, period. So, them marching through the streets of any town in the United States is an exhibition of the fact that a terrorist organization still has quarters in this place, okay, called America. And people always talk about the fact that they do march and there is protection for their speech.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know,
Trump will call them good people, but go ahead.
right. There's protection for their speech. And that is a terrorist organization.
Absolutely. And for
By
absolutely.
the definition, it is the definition of a terrorist organization. So I found it to be deeply problematic in the sense that is a picking and choosing as to when certain speech is allowed, right? And when others and other groups, their speech is monitored and surveilled and, of course, silenced or labeled as, pandering to, in this case, Hamas and the situation in the Middle East. And it's kind of like, okay, well, let's sort of qualify that, okay? Because you can say what one wants to say, but then we've got to qualify it, right? To know whether or not it's real, okay? So we can qualify the Klan as a terrorist organization. Can we qualify the events? And that's what I was waiting for the hearing to get to. The speech provoked what action? That's what I was waiting to hear in the testimonies with Congress and the presidents. The
Right.
speech provoked what action?
Action. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what because we can weigh and measure action, right? We can listen to speech, we can say that sounds, but it honestly really means nothing without being backed by or coupled with action.
Action. Absolutely.
Okay? Right?
Absolutely.
It's one level of manifestation, but it is not the ultimate level of manifestation. Action is. And so I was waiting for it to get there, and I saw the pushback in that conversation and their testimonies as to what actions followed such language that was problematic in those spaces on those university campuses. I did not hear anything that was satisfactory to me in terms of a consistent, terrorist action on the campuses. So it is limited to speech, So I like I said, I watched a portion of that. It was 5 hours, as you said.
Yes, I couldn't get through it.
Nobody has time to watch 5 hours of anything if you are a productive person. You get what I'm saying?
Come on, Doc. Come on.
So, I watched the highlights, so to speak, of the Congress and the presidents of said universities. And I thought to myself, there's really a serious desire to make these individuals responsible for the speech that was, a part of these protests. It made me also think that can people really have freedom of speech and support one side or another? Because in that situation, both sides have had, issues. Okay, in terms of they're having a war. It's a war.
Exactly.
So, right.
Exactly.
So both sides have done things that people can cite, but in terms of expressing one's support for one or the other in an American campus, on an American campus at a American university, I didn't see that. Okay, so maybe I'm ignorant to the facts, but I did not see anything presented that said on these campuses there were this number of assaults or there were this number of attacks.
I didn't see that either.
I did not see that. Okay.
And I'm with you. I may be ignorant of the facts, but when I was reading articles and looking at clips, I didn't see them say, X amount of students were attacked simply because they were Jewish, or
right.
I didn't see any of that. It was just they didn't like the chants that the children were saying. They didn't like hearing the chant from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. They said they feel like that was a call for genocide. They felt like that was supporting genocide. And then there was another chant or word that they were using, which meant like uprising or something like that. It was like another word that they were using. Someone in the chat helped me out. It was another word that these kids were chanting, which meant like, like uprising or something like that. And they were saying all of these things were calls for genocide, or support, support of genocide. And I didn't get that from the river to the sea, Palestine. I didn't think that they were talking about, like you said, ethnic cleansing. I don't think that that's what that slogan or that statement means, or statements mean. I just thought they were saying like, free the land, free the people, like, but not kill everybody. I didn't think that was a call for ethnic cleansing at all. And so I do agree with Sister LaDoja Wright. She said the way those politicians talk to those college president, she said it was deplorable. She said, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And she said there was one black politician who was just despicable. And they were talking to those college presidents like they were children.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you hear what I just? And I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like you said, the way they communicated with them, like they were nothing. Like they were absolutely nothing.
Right.
So.
And so today, I believe the president of Harvard resigned. Now, when I was preparing for this, I got a message with the full letter of resignation.
Really?
Yes, she did. She did resign. And I did not get a chance, sorry, to read the entire resignation letter.
Wow.
But essentially, a blip from it was that she said something to the effect that, the powers that be are racist in essence.
Right. Well, we could pull it up. Let me see. Her name is Claudine Gay, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We could pull this up. I'll pull it up right now. But I kind of, I was surprised that she did. Yep, it popped right up. Resignation letter. It says read. Here it is. It's on CNN. Here it is, family. And I'll put it right here. But check this out though, Doc. Mm-hmm. I kind of knew it was going there because there was a donor that normally gives Harvard like $100 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he basically said, I'm not giving you all another dime until she's out of there. And money talks. You got that, and then you got the ADL threatening to get their title. They get some sort of funding from the federal government. Mm-hmm. And so they had, I think he said about a few hundred lawyers that were getting ready to go after them and get their funding removed. If so it was a lot of threats coming from, Harvard, alumni who were, giving large endowments to the university. There was also ADL threatening to get rid of their title. It's called Title something. I forgot the number, but it's Title something funding, but funding that comes from the federal government.
Right.
And so they were threatening that. And so I think that's exactly what happened. The powers that be.
Money talks, yeah.
Yeah, money talks. And so they got out of there. So let me share. Here it is, family. Let's say nightcap. This ain't me, family. I'm hitting the button. Okay, here we go. Here we go, family. Let's look at this. So CNN.com, it says the following is Harvard President Claudine Gay's resignation letter issued on January the 2nd, 2024. She said, dear members of the Harvard community, it is with a heavy heart but deep love for Harvard that I write to share that I will be stepping down as president. This is not a decision I came to easily. Indeed, it has been difficult beyond words because I have looked forward to working with so many of you to advance the commitment to academic excellence that has propelled this great university across centuries. But after consultation with members of the corporation, it has become clear it is in the best interest of Harvard for me to resign so that our community can navigate this moment of extraordinary challenge with a focus on the institution rather than the individual. Yeah, she's bad for business. Mm-hmm. That's what they're saying. Mm-hmm. She says it is a singular honor to be a member of this university, which has been my home and my inspiration for most of my professional career. Because remember, she was like the dean of a school or the chair of a department or something like that for years. Which was crazy because remember they were trying to act like even in that meeting with the Congress, like she got there because of affirmative action or something or DEI. Right. They said she was DEI hired. That's what they said. She was a DEI hired, as if this sister wasn't qualified, but she was more than qualified. Right. So she says right here, it's been my home and my inspiration for most of my professional career. My deep sense of connection to Harvard and its people has made it all the more painful to witness the tensions and divisions that have riven our community in recent months, awakening the bonds of trust and reciprocity that should be our sources of strength and support in times of crisis. She said, amidst all of this, it has been distressing to have doubt cast on my commitments to confronting hate and to upholding scholarly rigor, 2 bedrock values. And see, scholarly rigor, remember they called her a plagiarist too. Remember that? She said, thou cast on my commitments to confronting hate and to upholding scholarly rigor, 2 bedrock values that are fundamental to who I am, and frightening to be subjected to personal attacks and threats fueled by racial animus. I believe in the people of Harvard because I see in you the possibility and the promise of a better future. These last weeks have helped make clear the work we need to do to build that future, to combat bias and hate in all of its forms, to create a learning environment in which we respect each other's dignity and treat one another with compassion, and to affirm our enduring commitment to open inquiry and free expression in the pursuit of truth. Woo! Yeah. She said, I believe we have within us all that we need to heal from this period of tension and division and to emerge stronger. I had hope with all of my heart to lead us on that journey in partnership with all of you. As I now return to the faculty and to the scholarship and teaching that are the likelihood of what we do, I pledge to continue working alongside you to build the community we deserve. Let me keep scrolling down. She said, when I became president, I considered myself particularly blessed by the opportunity to serve people from around the world who saw in my presidency a vision of Harvard that affirmed their sense of belonging, their sense that Harvard welcomed people of talent and promise from every background imaginable to learn from and grow with one another. To all of you, please know that those doors remain open and Harvard will be stronger and better because they do. Right. As we welcome a new year and a new semester, I hope we can all look forward to brighter days. Sad as I am to be sending this message, my hopes for Harvard remain undimmed. She says, when my brief presidency is remembered, I hope it will be seen as a moment of reawakening to the importance of striving to find our common humanity. I love that. Our common humanity, and of not allowing rancor and I butchered that, to undermine the vital process of education. I trust we will all find ways in this time of intense challenge and controversy to recommit ourselves to excellence, the openness, and the independence that are crucial to what our university stands for, to our capacity to serve the world. Sincerely, Claudine Gay. Doc, are you still there? Doc, you went out. Yeah, Doc, you're not even muted and you went out. Let me stop sharing. Family, is it her or is it me, family? They'll tell us in the chat. Family, can you hear me or can you hear her? Family, can you hear me or can you hear her? Can you hear me, family? Tell me in the chat. Doc, go out and come back in. I think it's you, because I can't hear anything. They said it's you, Doc. Go out and come back in. We got you covered. Just go back out, click off the link and come back in. Yeah, there she goes. She's gone. Yeah, I butchered that word. I'm over here Googling it now. Hold on. Vituperation. There it is, vituperation, which means bitter and abusive language, vituperation. I need to add that to my arsenal. I'm a wordsmith. I love words, so I'm going to add that to my arsenal. She's back. Doc, what happened? Like, you went out. Did you reboot your computer? Yeah, I don't know what happened either. Like, you literally went out, came back in. They said it's her. The audience said they hear me fine. Just reboot your computer, Doc. So, like, click off the link and, like, just reboot your whole computer and then come back up. I'm here. I'll hold it down. Yeah, just reboot it. Yeah, restart it. Yeah, restart it. She said, okay. I can read your lips. She said, yeah, okay. Yeah, just restart it. Restart your computer. All right, family. So we just read the letter to Claudine Gay. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I think they were trying to get her out of there anyway. I think they didn't want her in there anyway. They was looking for all excuses, because look at what happened when they didn't. As soon as she did something that they didn't like, then she was a DEI hire. And DEI, we're talking about, what is it? Diversity, equity, inclusion. She became a DEI hire. Then they went back and checked her dissertation and called her a plagiarist. I mean, all sorts of stuff, trying to act as if this woman wasn't competent and she wasn't qualified for the position anyway. But guess what? That was already in their hearts. See, stuff like that just doesn't come out of the blue. It was already in their hearts. It was already in their hearts and their minds. They already thought that she was a DEI hire, right? But then they did a little digging, found a mistake, I believe, that she made when she wrote her dissertation and said, oh, she didn't cite this one person. Now she's a plagiarist. Well, her dissertation is hundreds of pages long. And so she didn't cite one person. And all of a sudden, she became a plagiarist. And so I am of the opinion that was already in her heart. That was already in their hearts. It was already in their minds. There's an African proverb that says that the tongue speaks what's in the heart. So when you say something to somebody and you're firing off, it was because it was already in your heart. It was already in your mind to say. It didn't just poof pop in your brain. It was already there. It was already there. They just got the courage to say that. They got the courage to go in when this whole quote unquote anti-Semitism stuff started happening, right? When these accusations came out that the campus was anti-Semitic and all that, then they got the courage juice to say she's a DEI hire, and it was already there. All right. And so now the sister, then she resigned. Dr. Claudine Gay has resigned. And like I said, prior to reading this letter, I figured that she was going to. I just didn't know when. Anytime you have a donor say, I'm not going to give you my annual $100 million, $100 million if you keep her as president, what institution wouldn't, so I think that money talks at the end of the day. Who we have in the building? I see Miss Diane Boyd is in the building. Peace to your queen. I see Slauson Girl is in the building. I see Men of the Metaverse is in the building. I see Rock Hakadash is in the building. Peace and love to you, beloved. Who else? Jadorian is in the building. I see Extra Money. Peace to you. And Slauson Girl just said something that was on point. She said, we need our own version. Come on. Our own version of the ADL, right? She said, oh, we have no footing to fight back. She's 1,001%. She's 1,000% correct. We do need our own version. When they say something about Black folks, they could say slavery is a choice. Harriet Tubman doesn't exist. Nat Turner, they say all kinds of stuff about Black folks. Where's our version of the Anti-Defamation League? Where's our version? But you know what? We actually do, Slauson Girl. I just thought about it as I was ranting. We have CMOTEP. CMOTEP. Let me tell you what that stands for. Hold on. I'm going to Google it. I just actually spoke at they just celebrated their 37th year anniversary. CMOTEP, here it is. It's the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People. So we do have it. We do have it. I was getting ready to go in, Slauson Girl, like, you 1,000. We do, but it needs to be, more influential with our support. I think we need to support this organization more, but we do have it, beloved. Extra Money, I see you, brother. LaDoja Wright says that's their history. That's what they do. They invade, disrespect, then cry when folks stand up against them. Ashe. Extra Money, I see you, family. The FBI infiltrated all of our organization. I see Truck Life Lou is in the building. I see a Queen Mother in the building. Mia Miata, she said white supremacy is terrorism. Facts. I'm just going through. Joe Biden gave the eulogy at Robert Byrd. Wow. I see you, Doc. You're back, Doc. I was holding it down for you, Doc.
Yes.
Going through the comments, Doc.
Yes. Can you hear me? Everything's good?
We good, Doc. We good.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. What were your thoughts when I was reading the letter? What were you thinking, Doc?
Well, quite frankly, I was thinking, okay, they got her. Right? Because they were trying for about a week or so ago. They were pushing and she was saying, I'm staying, I'm not going, And yes, her presidency as her tenure as the president of Harvard is notable. Obviously, they've never had a Black woman president. And I've thought to myself, like, okay, she served her purpose in the moment for them, because we all know after 2020 you have all of these, DEI positions, but also you have notably a number of Black women presidents and Black presidents at large PWIs. And I thought that that was interesting. It served the moment for them to say, we are not, racist institutions. We can have, Black leadership. And that's a whole nother conversation about all the monies and everything that were released in these institutions, and the trickle down that was supposed to happen that never really quite happened at any of them. And that being the case, I feel like it's a utilitarian effort. They utilized her for the imagery, the optics of being a more progressive Harvard. But in the moment that we are in now, at this particular moment, she's timed out, and they're not going to stand behind her as a leader of that institution when it comes to dollars and cents. But I think it was a scapegoating. She was a scapegoat in many
Absolutely.
instances. Okay. And I did not appreciate, and I did not appreciate how the congresswoman, the first congressperson who uh, got into her line of questioning, how she opened it up with saying that if there were calls on that campus to kill Black people, and I'm paraphrasing, um, those were not her exact words, but they were in effect that sentiment. Would she think it's okay? So, in other words, you're going to co opt, the Black struggle to say, well, would you tolerate, chance of genocide? Hello, this is America. We have tolerated that.
Come on, for hundreds of years. For hundreds of years.
So, and I do not think personally, this is my personal opinion, that we have always had leadership that responded on behalf of the Black population totally, right? This country had a Black president who did not respond to the loss of life in an appropriate way with legislation, okay? So the idea that President Gay of Harvard would respond in an unusual way to chants, slurs, whatever against Black people on that campus just because she is Black is sort of a foul. I'm not buying it. Let me just say
No.
that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm not
buying
buying
it.
either.
But I thought that that was a bit, I thought that that was pretty strategic. I thought it was disrespectful, and if you are acknowledging her race, then you should also acknowledge the fact that she comes from a group of people that does not have a history in this country in particular of systemically oppressing Jewish people.
Not at all.
Okay, so if you can, if you're going to use her Blackness in the moment as a marker to say that she should be more sensitive, then you should also note that she comes from a group that has been the most marginalized, right? A group that has created the art of protest and everything that comes with it, and still have not benefited from those very things. She comes from a group that pressed to have those 14th Amendment and that 15th Amendment that applies to everybody, but seldom and is still in a question as to whether or not it applies to the very group whose struggle it comes out of. So let me be more specific. The equal protection under the law comes out of the Black freedom struggle, right? It's one of the Reconstruction Amendments, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. So many groups benefit from this. Okay.
Absolutely.
Today, to this day, Black people still, in many ways, do not benefit from this. And we know this because of the legislation, right? We know that 100 years after the Reconstruction Amendments. You've got to have the Voting Rights Act to facilitate voting of Black people, because there were all kinds of state laws and clauses that would obstruct their right to vote. So that's still in question in this country. So if you're going to invoke her race as a factor in her allowing or not speaking or not stopping the speech that happened on her campus, then you also need to invoke her race and recall what group she belongs to, and recall the fact that she comes from a group that, yes, as I stated before, participated in wars that did not involve them, that were against European anti-Semitism. Okay, that's what the
Absolutely.
Holocaust, that's what World War II was responding to, right? The Holocaust. You should note that she comes from that group, and that
That's
there
right.
is no tradition amongst our people of being anti-Semitic. You know, we can point in case, we can talk about the many, many, many Ethiopian Jews that are in Palestine and in Israel at this moment, who have suffered racist attacks on behalf of Israelis, on behalf of the state of Israel. We can talk about that, okay? How Ethiopian Jews were sterilized, the women. There's a lot already out there about that. How the people were not given housing when they came there for asylum seekers coming from Ethiopia who were Jewish, came to what is present day Israel and were not allowed or afforded housing.
Mm.
And this was a systemic thing. They were told not to rent to them. So there's images of tent cities that Ethiopian Jews, Black Jews inhabited in Israel. Okay. So is that not racist? Is it a matter of religion, or is it a matter of race?
Come
There
on.
are people who are Jewish, probably the longest standing Jewish people on earth, honestly, Ethiopian Jews. So what is the question? What is the issue, there? So if you're going to invoke race, then you need to be fair all the way around, okay? You cannot say, well, would you suffer, this kind of speech aimed at Black people? Listen, we know even when it's not out in the open, those words, that sentiment still exists, especially in PWIs.
Come on.
Okay? And
Come on.
the Ivy League PWI. So come on, I thought that was uh very disrespectful, to invoke her race and then to turn around and say that you are part of, you know, some anti-Semitic effort to allow this to happen. Very problematic, very problem. But listen, I do think that Dr. Gay understands the landscape that she was navigating.
That's
You
right.
are not in those spaces unless you are going to serve a particular agenda,
Come on. You better
and
say it,
it's
Doc.
not the agenda of Black people. So she is there, but what we don't like to talk about here is the fact that most of our position and presence, as I say, Black presence doesn't mean Black progress. We are in a total neo-colonial state here, in the sense that we have a lot of Black people in a lot of places, high places. They are not there because they are going to act and function on behalf of Black people. Okay, they're actually there for the opposite.
Come
Okay,
on. Come
they
on.
will not. They will serve the interest of the ruling class, period. And if they're not, their presence is very conditional. When they do not serve the interest of the ruling class, they will not be in those positions. Okay, there is always a clause for Black public leadership. Okay, the clause is that if you do not serve, and if you do not serve us, and if you think that your position allows you to serve your group,
Mm.
you will not be there. Okay, that's the same position I have on Obama, which is that from the beginning, the condition of his presidency is that he would not acknowledge the plight and the struggle of African people in the United States. Period. Okay. And I said that on day 2. And I would say his whole entire presidency was an example of that. Okay. So I felt like, the congresswoman gave it to Dr. Gay a little bit more than the others, right? She opened up with that about racial slurs against Black people. Would you tolerate that? And I thought that, how disingenuous, how disrespectful, how intellectually dishonest, right? Do you not know history? Are Black people in any way a constituted threat to the Jewish population in the United States or anywhere else in the world? Actually not.
Mm-hmm,
And we
mm-hmm.
can say that in a way, we can qualify that, right? We can qualify that there is no history of that. And I'm not talking about individual incidents of graffiti or things. That I'm talking about systemic oppression and having the power to oppress or marginalize any group. There's so much that can be said about that in terms of, because there's a promotion of the Jewish participation in the civil rights movement. And, all my response to all of that in this context is that
We march with King. No, I'm just playing, Doc. Go ahead.
right, yeah,
That's what they say, Doc. That's what they say.
right.
We march with King.
It's sort of a shield, right? But you know, the reality is that we have Jewish people in the United States, some religious, some not religious. And I would even give them the credit for the fact that I know Jewish people who are pro-Palestinian. I will give them that.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, what the American paradigm is based on is a racial paradigm. And I have, so my questions for anyone who talks about alliances between any group, be it Jewish or otherwise, and Black people, is what did you check off on the census? If you check off white, then you are self identifying and you are fully aware that you are part of a nation that is an expression of white nationalism. And you are here to be white. You're not here to be anything else, right? So whiteness becomes a culture in the American context, right? Dr. Hunter, Delaware Hunter, wrote a great book about this, The Culture of Whiteness. Okay. And so Eastern, Western Europeans come to America with the intention to engage in the culture of whiteness. And what does that mean? How do you relate to Black people and Blackness? You relate to them in the way that Black people are related to in a country that is an expression of white nationalism. And you don't stop short because of your religious orientation or affiliation or identity. Okay, so I'm never caught up with the idea that because individuals say they funded this or they supported that, what is your position in that system? Okay, what is your role in that system? Your people's role in that system that has historically oppressed my group, right? Or the group that I come from, or the group of people that are the most marginalized in this country, which would be Black people, I mean, besides Native Americans. But the reality is that we've been fighting all this time, right? And we do not have the benefit of our own struggle. So many people benefit from it. So I'm not, I definitely think that, to go back to your question, I think that, Dr. Gay's race was weaponized. in that instance, right? To disarm her. And so that she could not adequately respond to the events as they took place, because she had to keep in mind that her group could be on the receiving end. But our group is always on the receiving end,
Facts.
right? And it does not provoke this level of conversation when we are.
Not at all.
It does not.
Not at all. But you
Hey,
said
Charles.
it. But you said it earlier. You said we don't have the power.
Right.
And you said that earlier. That's why nobody cares. Nobody cares because we're not in power.
Right.
And so you said that beautifully. Doc, let me drop a bomb for you. Doc, look, when you were talking and you said to this day, you said to this day, and I was over here like this.
To this day. To this day.
Oh man, Doc. I do you have any closing words
Yes,
for the
so-
listening audience?
So I wanted to, specifically you brought up the book, and I'm glad. So I hope people will order it, because I want to sell out for the new year. I don't want to have any more of this version of the book. However, I wanted to point out, because I sent you the article to talk about the fact that, if you notice the article, and I should say the title of the article, right? I don't know if you have it up there. The article I sent you, it's called Liberia, the African American settler colony that parallels Israel. Very interesting article. A friend sent it to me a month or two ago, and I thought to myself, like, what is this? But it chronicles the Liberian settlement, the Americo-Liberian settlement. And it points out the fact that at the time, many people challenged the Americo-Liberian settlement for precisely what we're talking about, which is the action on the ground that marginalized indigenous Liberians, right? And this was done by so-called Americo-Liberians, people, African people who had survived slavery and returned to live in Liberia. Point being, there was criticism against what was happening on the ground then. And there's some of us in my book, I actually talk about the case of Liberia. And I sharply criticize what we did as African people, resettling on the African continent and not having our minds right in doing so.
Taking whiteness over there. We took whiteness over there.
Being willing to set up a system of marginalization against the indigenous African person. Okay? Based on some type of, American exceptionalism and just great irony in it. But there were two people that are noted in that article. They said, Marcus Garvey, unfortunately, did not respond to what was happening on the ground, nor did Boys respond to what was happening on the ground. Did you see that in the article?
No, Doctor. So remember, I didn't get a chance to read it. So, Doc, let's do this. I want to bring you back so we can really unpack this article. So I want to go read it. I'm actually going to read it tonight. Right. That's going to be my bedtime read. So I want to sit back, read it tonight, bring you back, and we do a part 2 where we break that down. And you also mentioned the other article, Israel and South Africa.
Yes. But let me say this real quick so you know what we're going to continue with. One person did respond to what was happening on the ground, and that was Booker T. Washington. And he makes it clear to Liberian officials that if you do not resolve the Liberian and the Americo-Liberian issue, it would be the destruction of the nation. And he talks about it as a very legitimate grievance on the part of the indigenous Liberian. And I'm saying that to say that whenever we look at a situation, self-criticism is always in order.
Absolutely.
Okay. So whether it's us as African people or any other group, we need to have a moral barometer, right? Where we know right from wrong, up from down, all of that. And if we can look at our situation and see what was problematic, this scenario in the so-called Middle East, if you will, is subject to the same criticism that if you are a settled population, you cannot go in there and decimate the existing population. I don't care when you got there. Okay?
Exactly.
It's just what is. I mean, there has to be some level of respect for humanity, period.
Period.
Okay? So whether that's
Absolutely.
in our ranks or abroad, we have to be able to have a moral barometer everywhere we go. And so I think that, yes, it is a conversation we have to finish in the future.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I want to read both of these articles when you sent them.
And we probably should reread the chapter on the Liberian crisis in my book. Like that is
Do it. Let's do
felt
it.
like it was very important for me to, as a African person who is a descendant of the people who emerged victoriously over the institution of slavery. That's us.
Absolutely.
That's right. We defeated the institution of slavery. Given that, it's important for us to be able to be critical of our own role in the marginalization and of another group of people,
Absolutely.
right? Who, in an effort to liberate ourselves and fulfill our dreams of returning to Africa, haphazardly and maybe even consciously, and we know that it was exploited, end up systemically oppressing and marginalizing another group of people, right? So there's room for that discussion, right? And we have to
Absolutely.
own that. And consequently, as we own that, we can level criticism against other groups who need some help in getting that understanding or coming to that understanding.
Absolutely, Dr. Wright. So I'm gonna read the articles tonight.
Okay.
I think you sent me the link to both of them. Did you?
Yeah,
Did you
well,
text me the
each
link?
one article, I think, and then you could revisit the Liberian crisis because I lay it out there, and
No, did you send me one link or two? I
I
only.
sent you the article and then I sent an independent link so that it doesn't take you back to the platform that I posted the article on. Right?
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a link that might take you back to Facebook where the article is, but then I sent you the original link.
Article of the
Right.
yeah, and you're right. I would love to read that article on Liberia and Israel, and then go back and read the Liberian crisis. Woo, that would be a hot doc. Now look, now you know we both off for semester break now. And I'm gonna be calling you now.
That's right.
I'm gonna be calling you, Doc. Like, hey,
All right.
do you want to go live? All right,
Yes,
Doc.
absolutely.
But I appreciate your presence, family. Make sure that you head on over to Booker T Washington and Africa.com. I put the link in the chat. Head on over there, grab the book ASAP, because you just heard her and I say we're going to be reading and discussing a chapter from that book alongside discussing and reading this article. And we want to make sure that you know what's going on. Family, grab the book. It ships right away. Go to Booker T Washington and Africa.com. Click the tab that says order your book. Let's sell the sister out. We sold her out once. We can sell her out again. So let's get it popping, family. Dr. Wright, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and your energy. I appreciate your presence, my sister, and I will be in touch with you.
Okay.
All right. Abibi Fahodie.
Peace.
Peace. All right, man. You heard that powerful warrior, Dr. Tareen Wright. That sister, I'm telling you, every time I engage with her, I'm blown away. Just mentally. I always walk away learning something new because she's a historian. First, she's a historian, she's an educator, she's a scholar, she's a warrior, and she has a really good character. Like she's always the same. So the woman you saw on the screen, when you call her or you see her out in the community, she's that woman. Because a lot of people get online and they front. So they front and they present themselves one way, but behind closed doors, they're totally different. And she's not that. She's the real deal, family. We got to make sure that we support her, that we support her work, family. So let's make sure we sell her out. Visit Booker T Washington in Africa.com. Grab the book ASAP. And what I'll do, family, after this upload, after this video uploads on YouTube, I'll put the link in the description to make it easier. So all you got to do is go to the video, click on the link. It'll direct you right to her website. I'm also going to grab the link that she sent me to the article and put that underneath the description as well, so that you all can kind of catch up. So when we have our next discussion, that you're already up to speed. Okay. I want to shout out a few people. Sister Marcia Pender, that's my girl, man. She was in the chat going off. That Queen Mother, man. When I say that she had me crying in my bed, family, she had me crying in my bed because she celebrated Kwanzaa. And on day 2 of Kwanzaa, where we discuss and celebrate and promote Kujichagulia self-determination, right? To define for ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves, right? On this particular day, she said, our Kwanzaa theme this year is to highlight the art. She said, today we poured libations for. She said, Dr.maat. She said, we poured libations for this wonderful sister, educator, artist, philosopher, and 1,000 other things I could name because of her self-determination to educate us all on the Ma'afa, African history, Black history, etc. She created alongside her sons the amazing animated series called MELTREK that I purchased for my kids. They have loved it. And she said, I can't wait to share with my future posterity. She said, we appreciate you and support all of the things you are self-determined to do. And then she put a link to meltrek365.com. So, you know, when I saw this, family, I saw it, I read it, and I was just blown away. I was taken back by it. And I told her, I said, you know, sister, I read your post late last night as I was preparing for bed. And I said, it reaffirmed my purpose, warmed my spirit, and inspired me to continue to create despite the obstacles I encounter. I said, I give thanks for you, not only because of this post, but for all that you are doing for your family and community. And I told her, I said, I salute you. Family, let's give it up for let's give it up for Sister Marcia Pender, man. I got to drop a bomb for that. Let me find my bomb. I didn't have it ready, but let me find it.
Fire! 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 Fire!
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you that post brought tears to my eyes. Queen, I salute you and I appreciate all that you're doing. She's raising up a beautiful generation of thinkers. I had the pleasure of engaging with her children during one of the read book club discussions. And so we read the book. They were her property. And her children, even her students, because she homeschools, she has a school, Homeschool Alliance. And so she homeschools not only her children, but other children. And she also assists other people with homeschooling their children. And so anyway, she brought her children on, okay, her children and the children that she educates. And they discussed every chapter with us of they were her property. So family, what I'm telling you, when I was impressed with their intellect, their articulation, and their passion for our people, family. So sister, keep up the good work. Just know I just wanted to send some love to you, sister. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And Happy New Year to everyone under the sound of my voice. I see Ben Frank is in the building. Peace and love to you, warrior. I saw Hotspot Casino in the building. Peace and love to you. I see my sister Rashamella, sister, the Queen Mother's in the building. Peace and love to you. I see YPK is in the building. Shabaka's in the building. Peace and love to you. I see Sister Tiffany. I see Saint Renard Clark Moore is in the building. Peace and love to you, beloved. JM9901901. I see you, beloved, in the building. Peace and love to you. Saad Ben Yosef is in the building. Peace and love to you. Just want to show some love. Big Nick Tech is in the building. I see you, warrior. Peace and love to you. Peace and love to you. Person Kid 21 is in the building. Peace and love to your family. Thank you all for tuning in. You could have been anywhere tonight on YouTube. You could have been looking at celebrity gossip. You could have been on another conscious platform, but you chose to click on the button and come over here with your sister. And I want you to know that I appreciate your presence. I appreciate everyone who was commenting. I never take anything that you all do for me lightly. I don't. I'm grateful for it all. I love you all. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the notification bell so that when you're notified whenever I go live or I upload any type of content. I will be live in the next couple of days. Don't tell Baba. I'm asking if he could come on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. And so, I'm gonna reach out to Bob. I mean, if he's busy, I got 2 other people in my brain, but don't tell him. I'm gonna ask him to come on. But anyway, family, tune in this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace and Black Power. Abibi Fahodie, Abibi Tumi. And let me find my outro. I got all pumped up, couldn't find my outro.
Let's combat and fight back with MELTREK. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Kamon core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.MSU.